You know that feeling, right? When you genuinely prefer a quiet night at home over a loud night out? You've probably been misunderstood for it. Maybe you've been called antisocial or even lazy or depressed. But what if that preference isn't a weakness at all? What if it's actually a sign of some pretty serious inner strength? Let's get into what's really going on here.
Yeah, society often gets this completely wrong. On the left, you've got the usual labels that get thrown around: antisocial, depressed, lazy. But the psychological reality, which we're about to unpack, is way over on the right. It's really about being self-aware, creating genuine peace, and building a life that's perfectly optimized for you.
And if this hits home for you, that incredible feeling of relief the second you'll walk through your front door, then you are in exactly the right place. That big sigh of relief, it isn't about escaping life, it's about reconnecting with it, but on your own terms. And honestly, the psychology behind it is absolutely fascinating. So let's actually put a name to this feeling. In environmental psychology, it's called your restorative niche. And check this out, it's not about avoidance. As you can see, it's all about optimization.
Okay, so what in the world is restorative niche construction? It sounds a little academic, I know. But it's simply the deliberate act of creating an environment that lets your brain's own regulatory system work at its absolute best. Think of it like building a custom headquarters for your mind, perfectly tuned to what you need. And that, right there, is a sign of huge self-awareness.
And this really gets to the heart of it. This isn't about disliking other people, not at all. It's about having a deep, profound respect for your own finite energy. You just get that your mental and emotional resources are precious, and you refuse to waste them on interactions that completely drain you.
You know, this whole preference is actually built on 4 key inner strengths. So let's unpack what we're going to call the homebody advantage.
We're going to look at your deep need for authenticity over social performance, your high sensory intelligence, the way you use your home as a kind of personal laboratory, and finally, your super high threshold for peace. Let's jump into that first one.
First up, you have a really low tolerance for fakeness. You know, those large social gatherings can feel so draining, not because you're shy, but because they are just filled with what you could call performative socializing. It's that feeling you get when people seem to be just waiting for their turn to talk instead of actually listening and connecting. And this is the key right here. Your choice to be alone isn't about being lonely. It's a powerful filter for authenticity. You value real, genuine connection so much that being by yourself is way more fulfilling than being in a room full of pretense. Okay, our second strength is something we can call high sensory intelligence. This is directly related to a psychological trait known as sensory processing sensitivity. All it means is that your brain processes sensory information, sights, sounds, smells, much more deeply than the average person does. Does this question just nail it for you? Because what feels like fun, harmless background noise to some people might feel like a full-on assault to your nervous system. You're not being dramatic. Your brain is literally processing more data from the environment and way more intensely than most people's.
Let's use an analogy, because this one really works. Think of your brain like a high-performance computer. The chaotic energy of a crowded party, that's like trying to run dozens of useless programs all at once. It just overheats the whole system. But at home, you get to close all those unnecessary programs. You create an optimized system. You curate the inputs, and that allows for peak performance. See? It's not avoidance. It's just really smart system management. So, what are you doing with all this protected energy in this perfectly optimized space? Well, that brings us to our third trait. While other people might look in and think you're just doing nothing, you're actually in your lab. Your home is your space for creation, for experimentation, and for some serious deep thought. Exactly. I mean, research on flow states backs this up completely. It shows that deep creativity requires big chunks of uninterrupted time. So you aren't hiding from the world, you are incubating projects, hobbies, and ideas that would literally never get off the ground in a constantly interrupted environment. You're a writer, an artist, a builder, a thinker, and your home is your workshop. And finally, our fourth trait. Over time, you've developed what you could call a high peace threshold. You've learned that drama, gossip, and conflict are just incredibly expensive. They cost you your energy, they cost you your focus, and you've simply decided you're not willing to pay that price anymore. To a mind that actually thrives on chaos, your peaceful environment might look like boredom, but you see it for what it truly is: freedom. It's freedom from drama, freedom from pointless obligations, and the freedom to focus on what actually matters to you. So these four traits together, they paint a picture of a highly self-sufficient and really self-aware person. But there's actually a fascinating evolutionary theory that might just explain the why behind all of this.
It's called the Savannah Theory of Happiness. And what it proposes is that the things that made our hunter-gatherer ancestors happy, well, they still influence us today. But, and this is a big but, with a very interesting twist for more intelligent people. And here it is. This is the absolute bombshell from the research. Get this. Highly intelligent people often report lower life satisfaction the more they socialize with friends. I mean, that is the complete opposite of what you'd expect, right?
So why on earth would that be? The theory suggests that for highly intelligent people, a lot of social interaction can actually feel like a distraction. It's something that pulls them away from the deep focus they need to pursue their complex, long-term goals and their own inner growth.
And really, it all comes down to this single, powerful idea. So many people use constant activity and busyness to escape a life they find pretty unfulfilling. You've done the exact opposite. You have poured your energy into building a life, right where you are, that is so rich and so engaging, you feel absolutely no need to escape from it.
So please remember this. You haven't shrunk your world by staying home. Not at all. You've curated it, you've optimized it, and you've made it completely your own. You haven't withdrawn from the world. You've just built a better one. So the only question left is, what amazing thing are you going to create in it next?